Greetings and welcome. Thank you for coming. Before we begin, let me take a few moments to give the obligatory like this video, comment on this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and more importantly, share this video with a friend, an enemy, a coworker, or your gym buddy. Let's try and get this channel to 1,000 subscribers before Christmas. And while you're at it, be sure to check out my Patreon channel. Consider becoming a subscriber and help keep my editor energized with pizza and beer. Seriously, editors are a large part of what makes the world go round in this business. Give them some love. And lastly, a quick shout out to my Tier 4 patrons. Russ of the Frozen North, New5AC, Nick, Zachary Langmead, and Scared Wolf 1206. Thank you very much. And now, on with the story. The Deathworlders, a story by Philip R. Johnson, a.k.a. Hambone, Hambone HFY, and Hambone 3110. Chapter 24, An Alien World. Part 6. Date point, 10 years, 4 months AV. Cimbrean, the Far Reaches. Adam Audius. Training for the SOR was a delicate balancing act that weighed the need to keep the team on standby, ready for a mission should the need arise, versus the hellish demands of keeping their bodies in the proper condition to go on that mission. The result was training that varied in intensity throughout the week on a pseudo-random schedule, one day of which was the heavy day, followed by a light day for recovery. Heavy day was designed for maximum effect, at the expense of leaving the operator burned out and shaking, often barely able to move. Today was Adam's heavy day, and he'd elected to go for a simulated suit run. These were pretty simple, wearing the EV mass undersuit under a weighted replica of the mid-suit with a full tactical load, an arrangement that was actually worse to wear than the suit itself because it was loose on him rather than hugging tight and supporting its own weight. He set out for a dawn to dusk run. Pick a direction, go. Turn back at noon. And if you had any designs on saving your energies on the run out, you were just hurting yourself and everybody else you might need that little bit of extra performance for. He'd settled on a road run today and had set himself the challenge of making it out as far as the coastal outpost of New Penzance. New Penzance was nothing more than a research outpost. It had a cabin for the researchers, a boat shed with a launch ramp and a weather station, and a radio mast for talking to Folktha. The parking lot was bigger than the combined footprint of all the buildings, and Adam jogged across it, slapped the side of the cabin, panted a smiling hi to the surprised residents who were tending to their boat, then turned and jogged back down the access road, checking his timepiece. He'd made it just before noon, so when he reached the end of the access road, he turned left and continued along the coastal road for another 20 minutes before the alarm went, calling him to turn back. The return journey was always worse. On the way out, even pushing the pace as much as he needed to for good training, he could at least enjoy the scenery, take in his surroundings, and they were fantastic surroundings. The coast skirted the edge of the Scar, or the TMAZ, or the skid mark, or whatever you preferred to call it, and so the lush Cimbrean forests that had once come right down to the tide mark and the mangrove-like things that had once lived beyond even that were now gone. Here and there, a decaying stump jutted out of what was rapidly becoming a scrubby coastal grassland. Imported earthling grasses were outcompeting the native plants at an astonishing rate as they crowded out the sunlight and whipped the metaphorical rug out from under them. A bird, an actual Terran bird, sleek and agile, whipped overhead, speared down into the grass, and came up with something that could only be a native in its talents. An earthling wouldn't have been quite so exploded. A convoy of logging trucks swept up the road, headed away from the city, and he raised a greeting hand when the lead trunk hogged at him. There was a lot of alien timber out there, and no point in letting it all get eaten or choked by imported alien insects and plants. Folktha was getting hugely wealthy off a continent's worth of virgin extraterrestrial forest, and most coveted of all was pinkwood, with its delicate striations of alternating bands of dark chocolate and taffy pink grain. As a structural material, it was worthless. As a luxury decorative wood, it was the most coveted thing on either planet, and its looming extinction made his devotees all the more crazy. Of course, there were protests and environmental campaigners who decried the rapacious logging of an endangered species. But the Reclamation Project had pointed out in an impassioned statement that the tree was extinct anyways, given that it was only a matter of time before the last one was killed by a marauding immigrant. In the face of which every veneer, tabletop, and decorative turned piece that lived on as a treasured heirloom or a favorite gift only served to prolong the plant's unfortunate legacy, and to remind humankind of the degree of care and seriousness with which interstellar colonization would need to progress. Adam's muscles had been gently burning away all morning, of course, but as he entered the young woodlands around Folktha, and more importantly, when he crossed the field threshold for the gravity generator, ramping up from Cimbrean gravity to Earth gravity in about 10 paces, that was the point where he hit the wall. There were only so many energy-saving tricks that a man could do in these circumstances. He could stay hydrated, suck down electrolytes and sugar like his life depended on them, allow himself timed and brief rest breaks to stop, engulf an energy bar, and recover a few drips of reserves before powering on. But the only way to really get through it was the trance. PJ training had only reinforced something that Legsy had taught him when he was 16, that the human brain could enter a mode where pain, hunger, fatigue, thirst, all of it became abstract information. In such a state, focused completely on putting one foot at a time that little bit closer to home, a man could run and run and run and run. The sun took its sweet time in ambling down to ground level, and the kilometers ticked by sporadically, vanishing in handfuls, and yet each one taking an age. Adam had another level beyond the trance, which he saved for the most serious exercise, when the only way to move forward was to literally break himself. He wouldn't need it today. There was an established endpoint at the base. Rebar had rigged up a sheet of metal that rang like a gong when slapped in the big red circle at its center. Your run, or whatever you're doing, wasn't complete until you staggered up to it and rang it, did a circuit around the dorm for good measure, then slapped it a second time. Getting there involved thumping doggedly along the coastal highway past the building he co-owned with Titan on Demeter Road, up Delaney Row, into Newlands Park, and uphill beside the river as the lights came on to celebrate the hours of darkness. He crossed at the western footbridge, forced himself along Peak Way, past the MPs on gate duty, past the Gravball Hall and the scenario course, past the open field where all the base's staff who weren't spaceborne operators did their PT, up to the dorm, slapped the gong. This was where it got truly difficult in the last few seconds. Staggered around the dorm, counting every last step, slapped the gong again, and pain. Pain, exhaustion, weariness, and reality all flooded back in as he let go and started thinking again. Mechanically, his hand hit the stop button on his timepiece, then grabbed his drinking tube and took a long, thirsty pull of his custom cocktail of high-performance sports drink. He sat down on his butt, rolled backwards, and laid there for a minute or two while his breathing slowed and something resembling energy started to soak into his tissues again. Voices started to percolate into his sphere of awareness, and there was something familiar about one of them. Well, okay. Every voice on the base was familiar, but this one was familiar in a way he hadn't heard in a while. Just ran past me without acknowledging me. Do you think he's okay? Relax, he's fine. Ain't you, horse? Adam opened his eyes. Baseball grinned down at him. Standing next to him, wearing what was probably an expression of concern, were 2 Gowans. He didn't recognize the female, but the male? He knew that white cowlick anywhere, especially coupled with a new prosthetic paw. Oh, hey Dexter, how you doing? The female chittered a Gowan laugh. You are right, Regaari. He's overflowing with enthusiasm to see you again. Even Adam managed to laugh and waved a hand reassuringly. Just... He looked to baseball. What's that word the Brits use? Knackered, Base grinned. How'd you do? Got out past New Penzance, Adam smiled. Shit, Baseball swore. Those grin got all the wider. You know, we're going to have to try for Big Bay now, right? No way your slow ass is getting out that far, Adam grunted. He rolled over and agonizingly hauled himself upright with Base's help. Right, 'cause you're Speedy Gonzales, Base teased. Adam chuckled. Old-time racist though it was, he'd always loved that cartoon. Andale, arriba, he grunted, and began the laborious process of rolling over and heaved himself upright. Are you all right, Warhorse? Regaari seemed genuinely concerned. I'm fine, Adam reassured him. Good training and... Hey, good to see you, bro. Figured you'd come calling sooner or later. He hit the release on his bag and let it slam to the ground. Both Gowans took an alarmed step back. Ayma made an alarmed chirping sound. You were carrying that? Yep. Adam nodded and then aimed a thumb at Baseball, who scooped the bag up easily and slung it over his shoulder. His turn tomorrow. But that must weigh... Ayma paused and evaluated it. About 5 times what you do, Baseball told her. It's just what we do. You coming in for movie night, hoss? Oh, what we watching? Adam asked. You get the deciding vote, Base told him. Terminator 2 or The Wind-Up Girl? Oh, man, we having a good movie night? Adam asked. Judgment Day, I guess. T2 it is, Base smiled. Go on, bro, hit the shower. Crew patch first, 10 milligrams. Base had already palmed one, then produced it with a smirk. Pussy. Adam rolled his eyes even as he took the patch and pressed it firmly to his aching right knee. It had definitely gone click in a nasty way during his final circuit of the dorm. Yeah. We'll see how tough you are when you're trying to run the Big Bay tomorrow, tough guy. Man, get your stinky ass in that shower so we can watch Arnold do his shit. They knocked fists, and Adam did as he was told, hobbling his way around the dorm's side to the locker room and shower block. Ordinarily, he would have soaked at length, but the lure of a good movie, gowans, and a bowl of jambalaya he had waiting for him was all too strong. He swung by the kitchen to grab his dinner, took a couple of minutes to microwave it, and headed to the couch. Disappointingly, Dexter, Regaari, had elected to maintain his dignity in front of the female, and didn't join the comfortable warm tangle of relaxation on the couch. Adam could relate. He'd felt similarly awkward on the 2 occasions when Ava had joined them for a movie. He stomped on that thought immediately and found somewhere to insert himself on the couch. So what is this movie about? Ayma asked, perching herself delicately on the armchair, which was otherwise only ever used by Major Powell on the rare occasion that he joined them. Akiyama, as always, was the one who leapt to summarize it. Okay, so this is the second movie in a series, and what happened was that some idiot invented a computer that took over the world and killed almost everyone. This dude, John Connor? Ayma listened, rapt, and occasionally asked questions about the time travel aspect of the story, and Adam grinned silently to Regaari when he climbed up onto the back of the couch and made himself comfortable. Everything okay with you two? He whispered. Regaari's ears drooped very slightly. In order to avoid triggering the translator and having Ayma overhear, he had to reply in his faltering English. She only wants to be friend. Ouch. Sorry, bro. Regaari made a complicated duck-wobbling motion with his head that probably served as a Gowan shrug. Is best probably. Make hard with other Gao. They not ready. Is best probably. Make hard with other Gao. They not ready. He flashed a few teeth, imitating a smile, and extended a bunched fist, which Adam happily met with his own, and they settled back to watch the movie. Schwarzenegger was in the middle of spin-loading his shotgun when there was a knock on the door and Powell shoved his head round it. Stay seated, lads, he ordered, even as the men on the couch were beginning the undignified scramble to get upright. Sorry for interrupting, but summat's come up. Ayma stood up and gestured to his seat, a gesture he acknowledged with thanks as Titan paused the movie. Powell perched on the edge of it. General Tremblay's just got back to me about our Gowan friends visiting Earth, he said. Adam shot a glance at Regaari, who nodded. It's all gone a bit political, he says, and he wants to know how soon we can make it happen without compromising on safety. Sir, so soon? Rebar asked. The men disentangled themselves and settled into an alert posture, engaged with the conversation. Powell admitted a small twitch of frustration, which, coming from him, was a sure sign of stress, along with his thickened accent. Ambassador Hussein's got involved. Don't know why, and I wasn't told. Regaari growled. Father Rafik, he said, referring to the current Gowan ambassador. He'll be keen to win points with Mother Yulna for his clan. It will backfire for him if he presses too hard, Ayma promised. Whatever the reason, Powell said, I have my orders. 2 Gowan VIPs to visit Earth ASAP. Thoughts? They'll need full-time attention to 2 protectors, sir, Bay suggested immediately. We're the only ones with training in ET medicine for it if they get infected or inhale an allergen or something. And personal protection, Adam agreed. Lots of folks on Earth might want to make some kind of statement. Statement? Ayma asked, ears swiveling in mixed curiosity and alarm. Regaari seemed similarly concerned. You think assault is a possibility? Bombs are a possibility, Blazinski told them, a little too bluntly. He promptly received a light slap upside the head from Murray. Ayma didn't take it well. Bombs? She squeaked. Her ears plastered themselves to her scalp, and the fur along the side of her spine bristled. Regaari shuffled closer to her and placed a comforting paw on her upper back. Worst-case scenario, Powell told them reassuringly, and highly unlikely. Bomb plots take time to organize, and if those goes quick and smooth, there won't be that kind of time. Still, we have to consider all the possibilities. So it's agreed. 1 protector per VIPs. Aggressors, I'm thinking not necessary. Probably not, Firth agreed. Horse and Base have got personal protection down pat. We just get in the way. Locals? Murray prompted. Aye, good shout, Powell agreed. If we need a marksman on the roof or whatever, local operators or law enforcement would raise less comment. This is going to be public either way, but I'd still rather keep us out of the spotlight. That leaves us, Rebar said as he looked at the Gowans. Don't suppose you guys brought some kind of Deathworld hazmat suits with you? No, Regaari admitted, plainly annoyed at himself. We did not. We expected longer negotiations. Can't that nanofactory of yours make them? Rebar asked. Too large, Regaari explained. The springing embers forge is for small tools and utensils, spare components and parts, not for a whole excursion suit. We could fly back to Gao and acquire some, Ayma suggested. How long would that take? Powell asked. Regaari looked at the ceiling, suggesting mental calculation. In human units, 9 days each way. Call that Plan B, Titan suggested. We can fix something up for you. You're sure now? Powell asked him. Earth's right up there at the top of the list for biohazards. Sir, if we make this thing and I have even a moment of doubt, you'll hear about it. Make what exactly? Powell probed. Portable biofilter, force field, and a small gravity generator sewn into a molly, Titan replied. He glanced left and right to Rebar and Sykes, who nodded along. Not difficult, especially if that nanofactory can build some Gowan tech ones. Even better if we can send them down to Scurf for Major Nudo's team to program and test. And we'll need Horse's skills as a seamstress to tailor the harness. The Major nodded, satisfied. Time frame on that? 2 hours to put it together, a day to properly safety test it, Titan estimated. 2 days, Rebar corrected him. Once Scurf have delivered the parts, that is, and ideally, sir, I'd press for 3. I'll pass that up the chain, Powell said and rubbed his face. So, 3 to 4 days minimum, as many as 20 or so, if not. We could, actually, never mind, Blazinski began. Problem? Powell asked him. Nothing I can explain in present company, sir. Regaari's head tilted in a way disarmingly similar to a concentrating dog's. If you had a suggestion for retrieving the suits from Gao faster than sending the springing ember, he mused, but the suggestion involves sensitive information, then that implies that your ships have an impressive sustained cruising speed, faster than I had suspected. Adam had already long since noticed Major Powell's clear tell when something surprised him or got past his guard. His best neutral expression slammed down, which it now did. Scott Blazinski, however, was not so accomplished a poker player, and he had to fight to conceal a scowl. Either way, neither man could have broadcast a clear confirmation of Regaari's stunning leap of insight. I doubt they're going to comment, Ayma told him, answering on the human's behalf. Please don't antagonize our friends, Snowtop. Snowtop? Adam asked her. Regaari had a faintly put-out set to his stance that suggested a touch of light-hearted teasing. Come on, that wicked white mohawk of his, Snowtop's a good 'un, Sykes grinned. A chuckle swept around the room, and Ayma looked quite pleased with herself. I do not have a mohawk. I have a white crest, Regaari grumbled. Or did you think my clan's name was an accident? Right, okay, so that's the defenders sorted, Powell grunted, immediately regaining everybody's attention. Burgess, Arias, thoughts on their suggestions? Can't be too careful, Base mused. Fields are great, but any car they ride in is going to want to be steam cleaned and hypoallergenic before they get in it. Same goes for hotel rooms, too. Shampoo, too, Adam offered. We don't want any stuff accumulating in that fur. And anybody who shakes hands needs to sanitize first. Even better, they need a frontline shot, Base continued. We should have a couple of stasis containers on standby, too, so if all goes foobar, we can extract them to an ET hospital, one of those Class 10 ones, Adam concluded. This conversation isn't filling me with confidence, Ayma confessed. That's because, to be straight with you, this trip is a bad idea, Baseball told her. Everyone in the room immediately gave him their undivided attention. You're only safe in this room talking with us because we've all got frontline implants, and so does everyone else on Cimbrean. So does Zhu Chang, which is why things didn't go real wrong for your homeworld the second you took her there. Earth, he added, is a whole different can of trouble. There's microbes everywhere, in the air, in the rain, in the soil, on the ground, and the walls, on every surface you touch, and on everybody's hands. There's going to be viruses, dust particles, pollen grains, and airborne compounds coming at you with every breath. And that's just the stuff that Titan's harnesses can deal with. What happens if a wasp decides to ruin your day? What if you scratch yourself on a rusty nail? I don't even want to think about what tetanus would do to a gowan. He sat forward to lend some extra solemnity to his words. Throw in the gravity, the weather, poisonous plants, and the fact that some crazy SOB might just decide to take a shot at you for reasons that only make sense to his buggy ass and no one else's. And that's all the stuff we probably know how you react to. How about, atmospheric pollution and heavy metal contaminants? He trailed off and looked around. Very, very gently, Powell gave him the nod to continue. Look, me and Horse, we've got your back. We'll be there, and if we don't keep you alive, ain't nobody was ever gonna, he said. But this is a real bad idea, Mother Ayma. A real bad one. As your protector, charged with your safety, I gotta tell you, the safest thing you could do is not go. Fucking A, Adam grunted. Ayma exhaled at length, looked down, then back up and met John's gaze levelly. Her ears were up and forward, and there was a determined set to her stance, and the way her claws were slightly out that said everything before she even spoke a word. Thank you for your kind warning and counsel, she said at last, and Adam suspected she was speaking very formally and diplomatically. Regaari had taught him that much about the Gauri language. But I have a sister on that planet, and I will speak with her at the very least. We are going. Together, Adam and John glanced at Regaari, who was still standing behind her where she couldn't see. Slowly, and a touch awkwardly given the different structure of his shoulders, he shrugged. Adam knew that shrug. It was the one he'd deployed himself on more than one occasion when the women in his life were busy making it difficult. I think we've had our marching orders, Major, he said. Powell made a deep noise in the back of his throat. That we have, Staff Sergeant, he agreed. Right. I'll pass everything you just said along to General Tremblay. Go ahead and finish your movie night, lads, and get a good night's sleep in. I expect you'll be busy tomorrow. Yes, sir, rippled through the humans, and Powell stood up. Night, lads. Night, sir. Ayma settled into his abandoned chair as Powell left. Where were we? She asked. The men exchanged glances. Then, with a shrug, Akiyama hit the remote again, and the burning wheel that had been frozen in place on screen for the last few minutes resumed its bouncing journey. Adam sat back and spent the rest of the movie night in thought, pondering the task to come. Something told him that his coming night's sleep was about to be the best one he'd get for a couple of weeks. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am the Casual Deathworlder, your host, and this has been The Deathworlders, Chapter 24, Part 6. I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. If you did, please go ahead and smash those like and subscribe buttons, and consider dropping us a comment down below. It all helps the hungry algorithm. Now, before I go any further, as always, a huge shout out to my editor, Graygor. Thank you very much, buddy. I couldn't do this without you. And another huge shout out to my Tier 4 patrons. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you haven't figured out by now, Chapter 24 is very much in the way of Chapter 22 as far as length. It's like almost 300 pages. Sorry, almost 200 pages. So this is probably going to be, I don't know, probably a 20-part chapter. Again, I'm trying to keep the various episodes down to about 20 or 30 minutes to help the algorithm. The algorithm tends not to like hour-long videos, and unfortunately a lot of audience members don't like the hour-long videos either. So I'm trying to cut those down, but that means that the great big chapters get a whole bunch of episodes before we get through that and move on to the next one. That said, I'll see you hopefully next week in Part 7. Until next time, be safe, be well. I love you all. Bye-bye.